Joe's in Hastings. Hi, Joe.
Hi there, Tom. Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. Firstly, to address what that last caller said, I can't believe that anyone could truly believe that the West, the UK, America, the EU, has never supported Israel. I mean, has he never looked into how many, the arms that America gives and sells to the Israeli state, and the fact that Israel during this whole war, so-called war, has had access to a huge cache of American arms and weapons. It's only one of. It's one
but
of
isn't
only
that
two,
to help Israel defend itself?
It's one of only two weapons stores of this size in the whole world that America has. The other one, I believe, is in South Korea.
Right.
And Israel's had free access to this site over the whole period of this war and before that. So for anyone to come on and
Joe,
say
let me ask you the question that follows from that.
That's just laughable.
Let me ask you the question that follows from that. Should Israel have access to any weapons to defend itself?
If it is genuine defence, yes. But I think
who decides
any decent, neutral, non-biased, non-Zionist, humanitarian person around the world now can see that this has gone way beyond defence. It went way beyond defence, but back towards the end of last year. This is not defence. Killing over 30,000 civilians, destroying 50, 60, 70% of property in Gaza is not defence. They will never ever get Hamas to surrender. They will never ever capture all of Hamas. We did not defeat the IRA by carpet bombing Northern Ireland.
Joe, stay on the line. Ambrosine's in Finchley. Ambrosine, what do you want to say to Joe? Afternoon.
2 points. Hello, Joe. Hello.
Hi.
Number one, I've got family of friends who are held hostage in Gaza. Number two, I've got family who were held hostage in Entebbe and murdered at the Munich Olympics. I'm going to give you 5 names, Joe. Hamza Ziadna, Hisham Al-Sayed, Qaid Fayal Al-Khadi, Mohammed Al-Atras Ziadna. What do they have in common?
No idea.
I have no idea either.
I'm asking that question to Joe.
Neither of us have got any idea, Ambrosine.
I've got no idea.
5 Muslims are being held in Ramadan, hostage by Hamas in Gaza. What are you going to do, Joe? What would you do?
Where have you got that information from?
Where are the Muslim voices demanding freedom for these 5 men?
Where have you got that information from? I've not heard this before.
They're being held, they're hostages.
Where have you got this from? What's your source?
Well, you haven't heard it because it hasn't been...
No, I haven't heard of it. Is this more Israeli lies? Is this more
IDF
lies?
The families of these 5 men.
Why has hardly anyone heard about this?
Well,
is this more?
Right, I'm going to come in here. Thank you. I'm going to tell you where this is coming from. This is coming from the Haaretz newspaper. Families of Muslim hostages held by Hamas, quote, "This isn't a religious war. Families of Israelis held hostage by Hamas. Ali Al-Zayadna has a brother, 2 nephews and a niece among the 239 Israelis held hostage in Gaza. Both he and other Bedouin make clear that the war on Hamas isn't a war of Arab against Jew." So that's where it comes from. Joe, your response to it?
Okay, and yeah, that's true, isn't it? This isn't a religious war. This is not Jewish people against Muslim people. This is not Muslim people against Jewish people.
We'll come back to Ambrosine's question. What should happen
against the Zionist regime that has been discriminating against Palestinian people for the last 75 years?
It is Ramadan, Joe. Do you not want these Muslim men to come home and be freed as other Jewish hostages or Israeli hostages that are being held?
Yes.
Do you believe that these men were taken by Hamas?
I do, and I want them to come home, just as I want the thousands of hostages that are held without charge in Israeli prisons. But funnily enough,
So
the
get
media
on the
around the
street
media
with
and
your
yourself, you would refer to
placard.
them as prisoners, wouldn't you? You would refer to them as hostages.
Get on.
This is where the language changes
Well, some of them are,
to try and
to
alter
be fair,
people's opinions.
No, hang on a sec. Some of them are prisoners. Some of them are in there having been
but
found
many of
guilty
them-
of crime. Hang on a sec. Some of them have been there found guilty of crimes that they have committed. No hostage is being held in Gaza having committed a crime.
No, but many thousands of Palestinian people, a lot of them children, a lot of them women, are treated absolutely disgustingly and tortured and are held without charge for months, if not years, as hostages. Yes, that's right, hostages in Israeli prisons.
Ambrosine?
Where's your proof, Joe?
The UN.
Where's your proof, Joe?
The
Where's
UN.
your proof? You've just asked myself and the presenter where our proof is.
Okay, well, I unlike Tom, I'm not sitting in the studio where I can quickly Google something.
Presenter, where
I'm
our
sure Tom
proof
has,
is.
as Tom has just done. Okay, but that
No
that is
clue,
a fact.
Joe. Get on the streets
okay.
on Saturday. Get on the streets on Saturday.
I have been on the streets. I have been on the streets before.
For these
yes, I have, and I
5 Muslim men to be freed.
Okay, no, I will. I will protest on the streets on Saturday for a ceasefire.
But we've got. I mean, that's what everyone is calling for, isn't it? The US, the UK, everyone is saying it's ceasefire time.
Far too late, though. Far too late. I mean, everyone now is probably praising America
When should
for
the ceasefire
simply
have happened?
abstaining. The ceasefire should have happened. Well, I hear, Tommy, obviously a couple of minutes ago you spoke about how there were people protesting on October the 8th for a ceasefire that a war shouldn't have happened, and that's because we know exactly how Israel acts in these kind of situations. We've seen it in
Joe,
years
come
before.
on.
Come on,
honest.
Tom.
Be honest.
They act completely disproportionately. They have done over history.
You wouldn't.
If you look at every single one of these wars over the last 20 to 30 years, there is always at least 10, 20, 30, 50 times more Palestinian people killed than there are Israelis. That is why people were
proportionality in war is not solely judged
8th.
by casualties. But Joe, you wouldn't be able to argue for Israel's right to defend itself, would you? You would quite happily say Israel should have no right to defend itself militarily.
No, absolutely not. No, I believe both sides have a right to defend themselves, and that is what Hamas do. Hamas, under international law, are allowed to fight as resistance fighters against the illegal occupation of Israel.
And that has consequences, doesn't it? For
It
Hamas
does, yes.
and for the people that are governed by Hamas.
But that should be recognised by people around the world, and they should not be dismissed as terrorists. Yes, some of their activities are acts of terrorism, but by and large, they are actually a resistance organisation.
You don't think the terrorism they committed makes them terrorists?
Well, then the IDF are terrorists because they behave in exactly the same way.
I don't know that they've gone round killing people in the same way with the same glee as the Hamas fighters did. Joe, thank you for the call. Ambrosine, thank you to you as well.